At St. Louis Acura and Alden Toyota, we are proud of our dedication to service, and we continue to serve our community. From now until December 12th, bring a new unwrapped toy from Marine Corps Reserve, Toys for Tots to support 323 Marines who in 2020 collected toys for over 78,000 children. Drop off at either St. Louis Acura or Alden Toyota. St. Louis Acura and Alden Toyota, becoming better than ever for you.
Hey, welcome back into Weekend Joe, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura, Munganast Alton Toyota here on CladesOnline.com. As you guys know, I like to have comedians on. Greg Warren, Kostaki Economopoulos, guests that we've had on in the past. And right now, a name that's familiar to many in St. Louis. He's Tim Convy, and he joins us now. Tim, what's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? It's been a long time. How you doing?
It has been a while. I like to, I don't include you in the story, but the way you and I met was one of my favorite, I guess, scams maybe of all time. And that was getting myself invited to that celebrity baseball game that the River City Rascals put on 2018 and 2019. I think, well, maybe it was 17 and 8, whatever way. I somehow worked my way into that game 2 years in a row, and I still don't understand how.
I did too. Well, I thought you were an important contributor out there, so it's good that you talked yourself in there. You certainly did more than I did for our team, but those were so fun. I don't know what I was doing there either, but I mean, I was playing catch with Fernando Tatis, and I mean, those are so cool. You know, like Brad Thompson's pitching to us, like that was awesome.
I completely forgot that Tatis was part of that. My kid is a huge Fernando Tatis Jr. fan, and I completely forgot that. I think I batted before or after him in the lineup, too, and now I can look a lot cooler. I can go show him that picture or show him that now. Yeah.
And he couldn't have been cooler. And it was a little bit before Junior had been called up. Like everybody knew he was out there and stuff, but it was before he, took over baseball. But man, he was awesome. Like it didn't take him long. I had to warm up with him in the outfield, and I'm in right, he's in center. And I mean, my arm hurt so bad just from the warm-ups. It wasn't like I was making plays or anything, but I didn't have the heart to tell Fernando Tatis that like I needed to take a break. But he could tell, and he could tell I was bad. He kept telling me like where to stand and stuff. But he was so cool. He couldn't have been nicer. All those guys.
I mean, just the way that they could turn it on for a game like that, because we faced Brad Thompson, and the first year was baseball, and then they realized what a huge mistake that was, and they changed it to softball.
Yes.
The next year, and the first game, I got a hit off of Brad Thompson, and the first at bat. And then the second one, I think I came up and he was like, screw this guy. And it was just 3 pitches and it was done.
I had a similar thing where he blows the first one by me. The second one, I make contact and I was like, all right, I'm on it. And then you could see him just be like, I'm done. Like to him, that was a lob. I made contact. I'm like, this is real. And I realized like he wasn't even like he did what he wanted with that baseball. I mean, they were imposing their will on that baseball every single time. But you're right; it's crazy that it was baseball, and there were the catchers from the team, the minor league. They had to have real catchers. And I don't know about you, I showed up thinking this is softball, and then seeing the catchers in gear and stuff, I was like, this is not going to go well for me.
You see, the only reason I knew it was baseball was because for a week or two leading up to the game, Jason Isringhausen kept texting me, or he would comment on stuff on social media about how he was going to hit me with a pitch. Oh. And then we showed up and we were on the same team. And when he saw that, he was upset. So that's how I knew it was baseball, because of that, just because I was getting threats from a Cardinal Hall of Famer.
Yes, terrifying. I mean, yeah, I remember him blowing some in there too. That was but so fun. And I mean, John Tudor in there too. Like it was so cool.
It really, I mean, yeah, and just what, yeah, the softball, the base. I mean, just somebody was it Skip that hit a home run, I think, in the game.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
it's just the fact that he, still able just to flick his wrists and put one, like, and a guy that didn't hit many home runs in his career, and it's just in a game like that, he's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll do that.
You forget just the distance between professional athletes and sort of everybody else. And even those guys who had all been out of the game, in some cases for 30 years, and in some cases for just a couple of years, like to see what they can do, even in a game like that, messing around is impressive. Because, you know, we go to the ballpark and you see it, but they're playing against each other. And then when you're out there on the field, it's impressive. It's also like seeing some of those, you know, I love minor league baseball, going to some of those games. In a lot of ways, it's more fun because a pop fly is not a done deal. You know, we're so used to how fundamentally sound all these MLBers are. Like any, you know, all right, if it's in the air, it's a done deal. Like there's no, all bets are off. The relay throws, all that. It's a little bit more exciting, but we take for granted just how amazing these athletes are.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you know, somebody like what Vince Coleman played it in one of those years, and he played shortstop because he didn't want to go and track down balls in the outfield, and then he's just taking routine ground balls at short. Like, I mean, like he could have done it if it wasn't, you know, if Ozzie Smith went down back in the day. They could Vince could have just stepped in.
Yes, John Tudor, who's probably 65 or something, was turning double plays. I mean, it was crazy. He was a pitcher, and he just like there's no problem. It really is amazing.
Yeah, and somehow you and I talked our way into that. It's pretty amazing.
Didn't make total fools of ourselves, I will say. I mean, stepping on the field, my goal was like, don't embarrass yourself, and making contact once was good enough for me.
That, yeah, and just not get hurt, not do something stupid trying to match the skill level of a former professional and do something to hurt yourself or look like an idiot, because there were a lot of people there to see them that weren't there to see us. So not to do that. So that was back. Both of us were back on the radio in those days, and now neither one of us are doing.
We've lost our celebrity status for celebrity softball games, unfortunately.
Oh, you underestimate my ability to talk my way into things. And I could I could go there and I can talk and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm working for Mike Claiborne now. Yeah, throw me in there. And then you know what? I would bring you too, Tim. I would say, you know what? I got this traveling comedian. He's going to be in town that day, and you know, we can get him out there too.
Yeah, he used to be somebody. Tell him that. I'm in. Any celebrity, whatever you can get me on. Sign me up for sure.
So you are full on into the stand-up comedy thing now. When did you? I mean, I know, you know, when you stopped doing radio was earlier this year, but like, when did you decide? You know what? I need to make a second career out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny from the time I've been doing stand-up for like 7 years now, and it started, you know, later in life than most people do, and even doing it a couple times, I knew right then that it was going to be a part of my life for a long time. It's an embarrassing thing to say out loud to people when you've done one open mic and just completely ate it. But I was just like, oh, this is a thing I do at whatever level. So I just, you know, the more you do it, the better you get, and kind of the hungrier you get, and you have more fun as you a little bit better. So something I always knew, you know, I wanted to build and kind of pursue. And then when I split with radio, it was like, oh, this is an opportunity to get back on the road and do some of the things I've always wanted to do. So it's been cool. It's comedy is as well. When it goes well, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And when it goes poorly, it is the full thing. So, you know, some of these shows, you know, you go down and like is a very special thing that I'm glad I could share with some people.
So when you go, I mean, you know, you and I have both sat in studios where we're just speaking into a mic, hoping people are listening to us as they're driving around or at work. You're standing now in front of people, like, and you are getting that immediate reaction to that. I can't imagine the difference that those two feelings are.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's, you know, in stand-up you have your act, so you got to be in the moment and you're whatever, but like you have, you know, somewhat prepared things that delivering. Radio is more spontaneous, but you know, I was saying radio, in comedy you have to be funny. In radio you just have to be amusing. You know, like in comedy, like everyone's got to kind of laugh at the same time. Radio, you just got to be engaging and amusing. You know, if you're telling a funny story, all the punchlines don't have to hit. It's just sort of funny and engaging. So it's different. But yeah, the immediate feedback was hard. I've been doing comedy longer than I was doing radio. So beginning in radio and you don't have that feedback, it was tough for me to be like, did that work? Was that good? Because you're so used to the laughs.
And then I feel like you when you get those instant laughs, that works. And then radio, it kind of takes a while. And then there's always those things that I always say, the little things that just bits or pop, little conversations that pop up that stick with the listeners forever, that you're just like, that wasn't supposed to be funny, or that wasn't, that wasn't supposed to have this lasting effect on you. And yet years later it does.
Yes, things you forgot even sort of happened or that you said. Yeah, they're very different, but you're right. It can in radio too, also just that being with somebody every day in the morning or the afternoon, whenever you're on, and just being so much a part of their lives is such a cool thing. Comedy's kind of a quick, you're in and out, and hopefully they remember and they buy a ticket to see you next time, but that's it.
When you're doing, you said you've been doing this for so many years now, and now that you're out, are you doing stuff every weekend now pretty much?
Mostly, yeah. I've shut things down a little bit because I got a baby on the way, so I'm a little more tied to home. But yeah, for a while there, I was gone. I'm on stage, every week though, at least once.
I know you're in town this weekend. I know you're out in St. Charles, right?
St. Charles, yeah. So the new Funny Bone out there, which is my first time there, so I'm excited about it.
So when you're doing this, and this goes for anybody you see specials for. I know you've been doing a lot of stuff with Greg Warren, who we've had on the show a handful of times. After that first, hour and a half long bit that you have, and you have to go sit down, and you're like, okay, everyone's heard that. I got to go do something else. This isn't like a, recording artist. You're not some band that's going out and playing the hits. They want to hear, when it comes to comedy, they want to hear new stuff. They don't, Ron White can't go out there and tell tater salad every show.
Right.
People hear it once and they're good.
Yeah, right. No, it is such a different thing. That's why you kind of have to get on the road, and you also have to you hit the open mics and stuff where it's people that ideally haven't heard stuff, but doing, for a while there, you do like the Funny Bones in town so much that you are just kind of aware of like, oh, that guy looks familiar. He's probably knows these next 10 minutes pretty well. So yeah, it is a thing. That's also the beauty of going to the road, because you're like, I'm in Kansas City. No one's ever heard this. So it's that much more fun. But it puts pressure too on the local shows to make it more fun, add kind of some different stuff, and just write as much as possible.
When you're here in St. Louis a lot, so you see the crowds, what I guess a hot crowd is. How do you think St. Louis is perceived as far as a comedy city goes? And then how does that change? Like, how does a city become a comedy city? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, the comics that have come out of here, it's pretty impressive. Like really well respected, Kathleen Madigan being from here, Nikki Glazer, Cedric the Entertainer, and then, your Greg Warrens, your Tommy Johnagans. Like it's pretty impressive, the people that have come out of here, and in terms of a scene, it's there's great stuff. How it's perceived, you have those like kind of hotbeds play, obviously New York, LA, Austin now is very big for comedy. Denver has kind of this special scene. So I don't know that we're on the map like with those places. It takes sort of a lot of things to line up, but the talent that is here, I think, competes with anywhere for sure. And again, you look at the people we've sent up to the big leagues, so to speak, and it's as good as any place.
Is it a venue thing? Is that it? Just for example, so I see like John Mulaney came out with his recent tour, and St. Louis isn't on it. And
yeah,
top 25 market, but not getting something like that. It's just, that's what I wonder with something like that, why it gets skipped over.
I don't know that that's unique to comedy. Like with music, you see that a lot. I think a lot of people look at Midwest and they just kind of like, they pick a few, it seems to me, for whatever reason. And different acts, different genres, things will sell differently here. You know what I mean? Somebody like that might say like, I'll do either St. Louis or Kansas City or but maybe not both. Sammy Hagar is never skipping St. Louis because he does extremely well here. Different artists are going to kind of do different things. But yeah, sometimes it's just venues. Sometimes it's like they didn't have the nights I wanted, and I'll just skip that one and see it next time. But I don't think that's unique to. I don't think more comedians are skipping us over. At least I hope not.
When you so when you're on the road, and we talked about it before that you've been traveling a lot with Greg Warren, opening for Greg. Do you sit back there and listen to his stuff every night? Or we talked about hearing it. When you heard his stuff once, I mean, for somebody like him who has made the big leagues, are you taking that in as much as you can?
Yeah, so most nights I am watching all of it, and then part of it is he's getting ready to do another special. So I think I'm out there to warm up the crowd for him, but I'm also there to hopefully help him, just give feedback and sort of notes and remind him stuff, which he does for me. I mean, he's been just a great mentor, and he comes from that intense wrestling background, so sort of a coach on me with my stuff. And yeah, we both listen to each other's sets, and then we'll dissect them the next day, which is great.
Yeah, that. And so what has been the biggest what has been the biggest piece of advice? What has been the biggest thing you've learned from somebody like him?
Editing, taking stuff out, and I mean, that's true of it's true of radio. It's true of, any type of writing, but it's absolutely true of stand up too. You'll have this joke and you'll be like, oh, it's pretty good. And it's like, well, it's 2 minutes too long, like the finding the center of the joke and sort of leaving it at that. Take out the extra stuff, or, tags, as we call them in stand up. Oh boy, I lost you for some reason. You still got me, Joe?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I apologize.
I had you the whole time. Yeah, it's I don't know what happened on your end, but I saw you and heard you the whole time.
Like my phone, my iPad, my laptop are all linked, and so strikes, but we got through it. We're back. Editing, though, is the speaking of brevity, would be the thing from Greg and everybody. Like, learn to take stuff out. You fall in love with these little jokes or lines that you said that you think are adding something, and they're not. Just hit the funny stuff, take the bad stuff out.
Did you have to do any during the pandemic? Did you do any of those Zoom shows?
I didn't. I did one or two sort of like benefit things, but a lot of people immediately shifted gears because I mean, with COVID, like so many of us, I was just like, it's going to be, just a few more weeks, just a few more. It's such a different thing. You crave that audience, and it's just the idea of it made me uncomfortable. And in some ways I had, because it turns out that whole pandemic lasted a lot longer. But no, I never really did that stuff.
Yeah, because it just reminded me when you're losing connection there, talking to a few of those other guys about just how to do it and how to get a laugh or reaction out of a crowd when you're sitting here at a screen and you're not sure what their connection is and you're not sure how delayed their laugh might be, or if it's actually going over. Heck, they could get up and they could have something better to do and be cooking dinner and just have you on the background. You're just watching their cat or something.
Yes. A friend just told me a story. She there was like a Groupon or just some online ad for like, this comedy show, a virtual comedy show during the thick of COVID. And so she bought a ticket. And so she shows up and she's the only person on there. It's just a Zoom between her and a comedian.
Oh my God.
And she was like, obviously I had to stay. I'm not going to bail on the guy. So she's just sitting there for 45 minutes, just like politely trying to laugh at this person who's like running bits. And I was like, I want nothing to do with that. I can't imagine making somebody sit through that.
I can't imagine just going out there and selling that and telling like it's thinking that that's a good idea, that a one-on-one comedy show is a good idea.
Oh, their goal wasn't one-on-one. They thought they were going to have 50 people in there. They thought it was going to be like any other virtual comedy show, but it turns out they only sold one ticket, so it was her. And
oh shit! Yeah,
that's when eventually they looked at each other and said, "You want to just call it? Okay, cool." But yeah, pretty brutal. So that stuff scared me.
God, that's when you just give the person their $10 back and you just, find something else to do with your nights.
Yep. not that guy. He trudged through, which, whatever. More power to him. I respect the hustle.
God, that is.
Yeah.
That does sound really,
Yeah.
really brutal. What can people expect when they go to your show? Are we talking a lot of St. Louis type of bits? What kind of comedy is Tim Convy doing?
Yeah, it's yeah, there's some St. Louis stuff on these local shows for sure. I talk about, the career in radio, my life in a band before that, a lot of stuff about my family. And, I've a lot going on right now. I just got married in May. I got a baby coming in February. So it's a lot of those kind of life changes, like doing all that for the first time in my 40s and buying a house for the first time. And so that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
That's, by the way, when you're talking St. Louis stuff, when you're backstage and Greg Warren's doing the 6 is a serious number bit, are you sitting there and you're like, yeah, I get that joke?
Yeah, it's hilarious too. All starting here, and you work here or wherever for a few years before you hit the road or anything. It's like you accumulate, you realize your act is a lot thinner than you think. You go to Omaha the first time and realize your Yadier Molina material maybe isn't going to do as well out there. So I used to have so much, and I'm like, I think I should focus on some other stuff if I'm going to keep touring. But yeah, Greg and I both, man, the St. Louis shows, we both can add about 20 minutes on St. Louis stuff.
How much stuff do you have, like, from a radio career type of? Because I mean, just like the people that we have both probably interviewed and the awkward exchanges and stuff like that. Just, I mean, I don't know how it would go over at a show, but when you're telling another person in radio about it, there's some stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine standing up in a room. Like, there has to be a bit about one time working for a station that was called The Man and the Woman, which, I mean, I did, like, and a guy that, sold cell phones for a living, thinking it was a good idea to buy a radio station and turn it into that. Like, there's something there. I don't know where it is, but there is a bit in there that I could probably make work for a few minutes.
Yes, it is a crazy business. And yeah, I mean, I only did radio for 5 years, but the stories I've got and things that, a lot of it is in my act. Just everybody, like I won't do bits or anything, but the people you meet, everyone who works in radio, whether they're on air or not, just the characters and the, everybody's that close to like being on air, and that how hungry everybody wants to go on air. And I can do this, and look at, did you hear this funny bit? Or what if we talked about this? Here's an idea for you. All that stuff I just, I love, and I get to talk about a little bit in the act.
I mean, God, I worked with, I had to stay in a hotel with Iggy for a week. I mean, that's maybe 20 minutes.
I'd pay to see. I'd pay to hear all about that.
Just turn that into a one-man show and talk about my week with Iggy. Where can people go to get tickets for your St. Louis, your St. Charles show this weekend?
Yeah, so you just look for the Funny Bone St. Charles, or my website is Tim Convy Stuff, Convy, timconvystuff.com. There's links in there. I'm with a really funny guy who's headlining, and it's gonna be awesome. So get tickets, and that is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, St. Charles Funny Bone.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you so much, man. Best of luck to you as you continue on with this. Glad that we could make this work today.
I'd love to do it anytime, Joe. I appreciate it, man.